Oh, it's the 25th anniversary of the One Piece anime. That's nice.
Right.
Let's see. What day is the One Piece anniversary? One Piece anniversary.
What's up, y'all? You know what time it is. It's about to be that time.
I think we're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another break week edition of Theory for Theory. You know, we'll get into theories. We'll get into a whole slew of topics, especially the breaking news. But I am joined with a special guest today. All right, who is every day getting closer to that Hall of Fame status.
Every day.
JayDLegend, my man.
Thanks for having me, bro. Glad to be back here with the Savage crew. It's been a while. You know, Randy, I feel like we came up together high key. I don't know. I feel like that. Like, I remember when I was like, before the Reverie and all that stuff, like, I remember it. So it's good to be back here with the homies. The JD family, the Rat family, and the Savage crew have had a strong alliance for years. So I'm happy to be back here.
You know this, man. You know this. We're here.
Yes, sir.
You were the first collab I did on the channel in the first place. Before I even started calling them Theory for Theory, you were the first person I brought onto the channel. Yep.
I love that. All right, man. I'm hyped. Then you running it back then.
I am. I'm running it back. It's been a while. I mean, probably close to 2 years at this point that we did that collab.
Yep.
But I mean, we did some other things, like we had the Cross Guild collab, but that wasn't one-on-one. That was with Morge, several reveries, and
we had the Fit stream as well, the drip stream.
Yep, we had
one of my favorite streams. the Sanji Summit, I think we had that too.
Yeah, we had the Sanji Summit, and we met in person at the Film Red premiere.
Exactly.
Yep. So, and then speaking of the Fit, what do you think of now that the Cross Scale's been animated? Did you check that out?
I have not yet. I've purposely been staying away from the anime. Honestly, for no good reason, if I'm going to be honest with you. I've been doing a lot of anime reactions, but I just have not tapped into the One Piece anime. So my plan is to have one day dedicated where I'm just going through the anime and seeing everything, because I've only seen like small little clips like Blackbeard. Like I saw the whole Rayleigh PR. I don't know if you've seen it, the clips of Rayleigh, and
I saw a clip. I just saw a clip on Twitter, but whoever posted it didn't have the sound. I was like,
right,
like what? Come on, I need the whole I need the whole picture here. But
yeah, it was insane. Like Rayleigh just burst, because you know how Rayleigh comes in to save Boa against Blackbeard, right?
Yeah.
Rayleigh comes in and it's just hockey oozing everywhere. I'm just like, it's like I'm watching an episode of Bleach with Reiatsu, except it's just hockey everywhere. Everything's shaking. He pulls out his sword. Hockey's leaking from the sword as he's pulling it out. Like, this PR is crazy, bro.
Right, and then he's like, but you know, I don't think I could have beat that man.
I don't think I could have beat that guy. And I was like, yo, this is like, that's what agenda piece is. What we just saw from Rayleigh there is like Oda, like, yo, let me just get the Rayleigh fans a meal. That's it. And then make it up to the Blackbeard fans later. That was insanity.
Oh man. So Jump Festa was this weekend. We got an Oda message. We got some breaking news that the One Piece anime is one step closer to GOAT status. You know, not that it was in question for some people, but I mean, it's had its criticism. So maybe this remake, if you guys haven't heard, Netflix is teaming with Wit, who did Attack on Titan, Spy Family, Vinland Saga. So they're going to remake One Piece from the start. And if we continue to support that, we'll get more than the East Blue. So that gets the Ascension button.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's one of my favorite gifts ever. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, it was late last night when I was just scrolling on One Piece, And I saw Arthur post it, and I'm like, this guy. I was like, yo, is it April Fool's? Like, One Piece isn't over. What do you mean a remake? And I saw Wit Studio. I'm like, this can't be real. And then I went on my main Twitter account, and I saw everyone like, oh my god, One Piece remake. And I'm like, only One Piece could be a series that's still going, and it gets a remake. I'm like, that's a one-time feat. I don't think I've ever seen that before, right? Like,
well,
that's insanity.
There isn't anything like One Piece. There isn't anything that's been going this long at the consistency that it's been going in the first place. David Codd asked, will they kill Pell in the new anime?
I have to.
I don't know if they're going to make manga changes. They should. No, I mean, they should. I mean, things that I would expect from this are like all of the middle fingers that the Toei cut out, like that'll go in. We'll actually adapt Zeph eating his leg rather than it getting, locked into that chain.
That would be good. And it's Wit too, so they're pretty known for, they cover pretty raw animes in general. So maybe that might be it. Maybe it'd be a little bit more violent than, early One Piece.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm expecting from this. I don't know if we'll get changes. I mean, it would be fun if, they did look to the future and then add some Easter eggs and foreshadow some things early on, kind of like the live action's doing. But it may be just as faithful as possible to what's on the page compared to what Toei had to kind of censor and change up for shareholders and the time slot. This is going to be Netflix, so this is the purest adaptation that we could possibly get. My concern would be, are we going to get the music?
Because that's important. I would argue the soundtrack and the OST for pre-time skip heavily outweighs the post-time skip soundtrack. If you ask me, there's a lot of missing soundtracks from pre-time skip we don't have post-time skip, and I'm very disappointed. Like, where's Sanji? Where's the jazz music? Like, where did the jazz music go, Randy? Like, what happened to that?
I'm with you 100% on that. I don't get
but
it's like when I look back and I think about things in the East Blue in the first place, a lot of it is music related. Like when you hear Overtaken for the first time, Walk to Arlong Park, all of that, the Nami flashback with Mother C, like that's what sets the tone. So, and I know that was an issue during season 1 of the live action because the rights holder is Shueisha, not Toei. So music licensing fees are some of the most expensive things in the industry to begin with.
So, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like you look at if you're watching a TV show, you're watching a movie or anything, and they start playing like a song that a very popular song, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Okay.
Yeah. So unless I didn't see, but if Toei is involved in this with them, then they'll be able to get the music. Otherwise, it might be all new OST. But I did watch the trailer, and Mayumi Tanaka is at the end of it, so I guess they're getting all the voice actors back, though.
Okay, that's good. That's a good thing. I think one thing that I'm very excited about, because I've been a big fan of Wit for a while. Right? I'm a big fan of Studio Wit. I was put onto them from Vinland Saga, but then I watched, I don't know if you heard of it, Great Pretender. I watched that.
Not familiar.
Yeah, that's something that I would 100% recommend. An excellent
Great Pretender.
Anime. Great Pretender. Yeah, season 2 actually is coming out pretty soon. It's pretty low key, but anyone that's watched it will tell you it's a really good anime. And Studio Wit did it. Okay. And one thing I know is their opening and their OSTs very bebop, very much Cowboy Bebop, very jazzy, jazz club, jazz house type of vibe. But it's really about scammers and everything like that. So think about like textbook scamming culture, right? That's what Great Pretender is really about. So it's really good. But their animation style was really, really unique. And then Studio Wit, you saw how they did it really good. Attack on Titan. Studio Wit, every time I've seen them do a series, they've done it justice. Like they've done really well. I think if I'm not mistaken, Mushoku Tensei, that's Wit too, isn't it? I don't know if you've heard of Mushoku Tensei.
That one I'm also unfamiliar with.
It's Jobless Reincarnation. Let me just make sure. It's pretty much a degenerate series with a very good story. So I would warn. I would warn against it. But let me see if I can just corroborate that. But while I'm talking about, like, I think Studio Wit, that's a big win for Studio Wit. I'd say that's a huge win because now you have the Mappas, you have Toei, and back then we used to have Madhouse, but then Madhouse kind of became Mappa. The fact that Studio Wit is getting something like One Piece and they have Attack on Titan, people are gonna see the name Wit now and think like, all right, top two. Like it's them and Mappa. To me now, with Studio Wit getting this, it's them and Mappa, and they have a chance to blow Mappa out of the water. Because Mappa with JJK has been incredible. But we know how Mappa has been treating their animators and their work as well documented. So this is Wit's chance to be like, yo, all of these projects, all of these series, you can start coming to us. Look what we did with One Piece. One Piece is the Star Wars of anime. It's the Star Wars of manga. So it's at the point where it's like, yo, we do One Piece well. All these people are coming in. Mappa's in trouble. They're in serious trouble.
They're coming for the title.
They are.
They're
coming for the belt, man.
They don't really need to actually grab anything else in the first place because they got the GOAT now. They just need to put the effort in. And I hope it is seasonal. I hope they take their time with it.
I hope so too. I think it's sad of what's been going on. And Randy, you're more tapped into the industry than I am. But like, I think it's just sad that, you know, you can get something like JJK, and they did really well with Chainsaw Man, but like to mistreat their workers, it's like, well, I think they feel like the public doesn't know that, but I think the anime community and with social media, they're way more tapped into the individuals that are really putting in the work, like the animators. You can tell with Wano, a lot of the animators and the director's name was being highlighted on social media with these big anime accounts now. So now more than ever, I think the community is pushing on these big corporations to be like, listen, people know when you're treating them like shit. And sooner or later, there's going to be enough action where you're going to lose these guys. And all it's going to take is one studio to be 5% better. Just a 5% treat them better. Give them an extra day of vacation. And they're just going to go there. And they're going to take all your service. They're going to take all your animes. So.
Well, I think that, you know, fans and just the general public is really good about just saying like, oh, you don't treat your workers well? Okay, well then we don't support you. You know, we're in a, I feel like we're in a generation now where people are standing up for themselves even more than they were before, or at least it's more public now because of the internet.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the information age, right? So,
yeah,
you know, the way corporations used to be easier for big corporations to hide these things, and most people did not care. But now everything's available, so there's a new type of. They have to put on a good public face, or else they're finished. Like, publicity is bigger than ever before. And Mappa, they can put out the best product in the world, but if they hear anything about mistreating social justice, that's it. That's the religion of this age. Like, if you're not treating your workers well, you're done. And you can't survive it. So many people try to survive it, and you won't survive it. You won't. You got to be smart about it, you know? And, you know, it's a shame. I mean, look at how public the One Piece live action was, and, you know, what went into the production, and how open Matt Owens was with the community, and how much he really involved. I feel like the way that the One Piece live action was done is they got the investment of the community early, and they gave them feedback. They brought them in, they included them in everything without giving all the details. So everyone was ready to receive it. And it was received really well because it was actually good. So then imagine it's an overwhelming amount of love where now I'm seeing people all over the world who never watched anime before, but they say, yo, you do One Piece content, right? I watched the live action. It wasn't bad. I might start it. They've won. That was the goal. And they won. It was a landslide victory. 4-0 sweep. There wasn't a single game won. Like, I had some gripes with it, but the main goal of it was an overwhelming success. But that was based on how they presented it. It was based on the groundwork that everyone put in, the production, the marketing, the care, paying attention to the actors. All of that stuff, all of that presentation was important. And I feel like it's time for companies like Mappa to finally pay attention to that and stop thinking all it's about is the dollar. It's all about the profit at the end. You got to have good PR. And Mappa's got the worst PR I've ever seen a studio have.
Look, as somebody that was on strike this year,
exactly.
You know, it's like this ties into everything that we're talking about. I couldn't even discuss the live action, even though I wanted to, because of, you know, unfair practices that were going on in Hollywood. But I will say that, you know, I was watching content, and the content that you were making on the live action was my favorite.
Appreciate that. I did my best. I'm not gonna lie. I was fighting a lonely battle at times, man. Like it really was. I was like, bro, like I just feel like a lot of people had expectations that weren't realistic. And it made them draw conclusions where they shouldn't have, right? And there's things that you need to focus on. I mean, for me, you know, Arquan's my hero. That's it. Like, whether he's a real character or not. Like, Arlong will never be the same to me after that. There's only one Arlong to me, that's Arquan. So we would never forget him. So whoever I'm sure you've met the actor, whoever he is, you just tell him he's my hero.
I have not yet.
You have not?
No.
If you ever meet him, please tell him he's my hero. Please. Because I don't know. The way he did that, I was moved to tears. I was moved spiritually. I was like, I've never felt this way before.
Yeah. No,
oh my God. It was so good, man.
We'd have to bring him back for some flashback stuff or whatever for me to meet him. I mean, I might meet him, you know, just somewhere, but you know,
somewhere.
He's done with the show as far as
obviously what's coming up next. Yeah.
Let's see. Dimmy LP super chat said a remake can fix a problem that I have with not only One Piece but other anime in general, having actual sword fight choreography. Santoryu could be amazing to watch now. I mean, there's so many ways to go in. I mean, you and the area of stuff that they are adapting is not stuff that hasn't been readapted. It just hasn't been readapted in its entirety, in totality. Like, we had episode of East Blue, which showed us like, oh yeah, we can actually up the animation quality on this stuff anytime we want. Yeah. But now we're gonna be able to get all of it. And you know, it's interesting too, because it's like, you go back, it might have been episode of East Blue, maybe it was episode of Luffy, I can't remember, but in the original version of the anime, like, Luffy never stabs himself in the eye, but in those OVAs that they did,
right,
he did. So it's like, that's also a sign of like times changing and like what we're able to get away with now, and things like that. Emil Diaz said the John Williams Superman theme is iconic. The Hans Zimmer Man of Steel theme is good. I think the One Piece remake is a chance to develop new iconic music. Yeah, I mean, and even the live action is, you know, creating its own music and orchestral score, and you know, that was received really well as well. Kami Anime S, my guy said, can't wait to tell my friend who owns my favorite restaurant about the One Piece anime remake with Wit. Let's say he wouldn't watch the OG because it's got too many episodes. Yeah, common criticisms. These are going to get thrown away. But yeah, no, you had me dying, bro, with your reactions.
I appreciate it, man. I had so much of a good time, like, watching the anime. It was just fun from the beginning to the end. Like, Garp Scottish accent, I think that was like, I was all in on the Garp Scottish accent, like all in, perfect, like just what I was looking for. Zeph being an old Brit, like an old London Chav Brit, was like perfect as well. Like, I just think like a lot of it allowed me to have fun with it, and that's what I've really been trying to do with the series as of late. As I've just been trying to have the most fun I can have with the series, and that's, I think, the beauty of One Piece, is that people can treat it, you know, very seriously and analytically, and look into themes and how it means to life. And for me, it's like, yo, I get to be a rat. I just get to be a rat and just watch One Piece. And it's such a ratty show. So it's like everything about it was great. I loved it.
Members drop the Chuji emotes. We're talking about rats here. So.
Oh, we love it. Big Chuge.
Chrissy said my favorite was Jay's reaction to Luffy smacking Kobe.
Oh my God. Such a violent slap. I was like, why did he slap him like that? And it's like the way he sat down like he didn't slap him. I'm like, that's just so ratty. Like, why would you do that?
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
He slapped the hell out of him.
It was great. It was great.
It was wonderful.
Yeah. Look at those rats in the chat.
I love it. It's beautiful. I need a better rat emo. Well, I think we got a good rat emo, but I'm thinking Remy from Ratatouille. I think we need to bring him in. I think he's the poster child.
5 more people in the chat have rat emojis now, so I want to see those.
You'd love to see it. I wanted to mention people in the chat were talking about hockey possibly being shown with the new edition of Wit, which I think would be good. I think it'd be a very good addition, because if we get to see, God willing, if we get to Marineford and we get to see hockey in Marineford, I think that's the one thing I would want to see out of everything. It's like Marineford, show us the hockey. You have so many proficient hockey users littered everywhere.
Please show that. And I don't remember what it was for, but I feel like a year, maybe 2 years ago, there was something, maybe it was a game. They redid parts of Marineford with super clean animation, but it was just little snippets like a trailer, and everything was at night. And that just elevated it.
Nighttime Marineford. Ooh.
I don't remember what it was for, but I remember looking at this like, I need a whole remake of it looking like this at night. I don't know if the chat knows what I'm talking about.
I wish I could find that, because then can you imagine Akainu's meteor shower of fists at nighttime, raining down on the ice?
Lighting, like adding light to the environment.
That would be special. That would be special. I'm not gonna lie.
I saw the chat saying that they could actually adapt the cover stories. I would hope they do that.
Adapting the cover stories would actually be pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Like, my thing is like, that could just be filler. Like, why did Toei never take the opportunity to just adapt cover stories into filler? I feel like that'd be a good idea.
I mean, they did with the Kobe Meppo story and then the Buggy story, and they had such low ratings that they decided to never do it again.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
that sucks. Okay.
And I mean, you would think that like the Ace cover story would actually get ratings though. So it's like, why would you took the time to add him into more episodes than he ever was in Alabasta.
Yeah. Those are different times. That's true. Maybe now, I think now with a lot more manga readers than there were back then, maybe they could try it. Like that NL Moon story.
Yeah.
That'd be a great little side story. But I feel like that might be spoilers. Because you're still, people still like come back to Moon.
Hey, look. Oda gave that to us years ago. Like almost 2 decades ago. So it's not spoilers. We need it. It needs to happen. It's canon. It's like, Toei does this thing where it's like, okay, we'll adapt it when it becomes important. So it's like they gave us the Wapple cover story when he came back for the Reverie. Like, oh, this is what happened to him. Like, we could have already known, but okay.
Okay.
Spartan Gibbles said, never forget Oda approved Helmeppo cheeks. Brandon King said, you think Egghead adapts the Germa cover story? See, that's an interesting thing, because it's like, now we're dealing with Oda tying the cover stories into the main story.
Yes.
Which is, I mean, they've all kind of done that, but not to the level of, okay, we see Kuzan and Van Augur go to Whole Cake Island, and then in the next chapter, we see that they've actually captured Pudding, which was just the cover story. You know, like that was a wow reveal. So I feel like they really should, and that could be fun. But you know, I feel like they don't even like really take the time to do this stuff, man.
It would be a good way to like, you know, since we're in Egghead, it'd be a good way to like provide filler and provide some time, right, for the manga to keep going, especially during this break period. It would be a great time to actually include those anime episodes while we're waiting for the manga to come back.
Yeah, you would think, but instead they want to, you know, continue doing half a chapter. I did really like the Cross Guild episode, though. I think you're gonna like that. Like when you actually get to watch that one, the Crocodile's voice actor was cooking. Like his delivery at Buggy was so good, man.
You can never miss with a Crocodile voice appearance. Right? When he stabbed Luffy with the hook in Alabasta. To me, top 5 voice acting performances in One Piece history. Maybe top 3.
He's top 1 for me.
For you, top 1. All right, I knew you were gonna say top 1.
No. I mean, it's so easy for me though. Like nothing comes close to like that voice actor is so good, so good.
I mean, I'm a Blackbeard guy, right? I'm a Akio Atsuka. Because he did Thorkel and he's also Shinsu in Bleach. So for me, that voice actor, I'm biased because I've also dedicated my life to mimicking his voice. So like his giant speech, like anytime Blackbeard's on the screen, his voice, I feel it, bro. Because it's that little rasp that he has that's very unique.
He was also
so when he did
Uvo in Hunter x Hunter.
Yes, he was also Uvo in Hunter x Hunter, and again, excellent. So like to me, him and Crocodile for sure. Those two. Yeah.
Blackbeard's up there for sure as well. I you know, I'm not gonna sit here and deny that that's not the goal, but you know, it's like I dabble in the Crocodile impression where you dabble in the Blackbeard impression.
Yes. I love it.
So we got Par in the chat.
Par's being a rat in the chat now.
Yeah.
My bounty's crazy.
It's just 1 billion in your subs, bro.
Oh, I love that. I just noticed.
Yeah. Let's see. Emil asks, would they add Ace novel stuff? I mean, that's interesting, but
where would they fit that?
Yeah, I just
that'd have to be prequel. That'd have to be a prequel, right?
I think that's better as like an OVA than it is to let's jam it into the canon. I think they should just be focusing on what's actually in the books.
I agree.
Demi LP, will Oda provide feedback and or advice? I think he could have done it for this remake of Monsters. I'm really excited for that Monsters adaptation. Like that's crazy. Yeah, I'm sure Oda's like, he's definitely got to be right on board with it. So he said One Piece already the best new gen anime. The old gen and the new gen.
One Piece already the best new gen anime. While I'd love for that propaganda to be true, JJK has been phenomenal. Are you tapped into JJK, Randy?
I'm not. I do wanna get into it. I think I watched the first episode once, and I just got busy. I've been wanting to go back. I gotta let it cook.
I get it. I will say, you gotta tap in. It's special. What I in terms of animes, you know, when you're just watching a classic, it's like you know what you're seeing. I know what I'm seeing as I'm watching it. I'm seeing, like, you know, back in the day where you're like on old YouTube where you see like anime AMVs and you see like the top 5 punches in anime. Like you saw those clips. There's so many of those moments in JJK where you're like, man, they're gonna make all the top 5s, all of them. So I'd say tap in.
Yeah, I want to. The way the community talks about it just makes me feel like I gotta tap in. I gotta let it cook. Yumio, I do think Mayumi Tanaka is returning because she is in the trailer. And then my guy Dizza said, "What's good, Randy and Jay? Could you two shout out my boy Vern? Today is his Brody's birthday. By the way, I messaged you on Discord, Captain. Shout out to Vern and Co.
Happy birthday, Mr. Vern.
Yeah, we got a birthday button here with that."
Birthday button. I need a birthday button on my stream. Oh my god.
Yeah, I got the presents pop up. Okay. Hey.
Let me ask you something.
Go for it.
So my assumption is that you're not on the dragon hate train agenda, right? You're on the opposite spectrum. Or right. Do you have the same fraud symptoms that I do?
All right, we're getting jumping right into rat talk. This is we said the fraud allegations would be addressed, so it's time to it's time
to give the people what they want. Yeah. I'm here.
So I'm on the fence. Okay. It's it's a situation where savage. What are we doing? I loved your skit, by the way.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's about time I've done one in a while.
I mean, I don't think there were any lies there, but I do think that the last chapter recontextualized a little bit of the fraud allegations. Oh, my man's facing east right now.
I'm facing. I was about to say, let me face east a little bit and then come right back.
Yeah, I got you on the east side as well.
I appreciate you. God bless. All right, we're on the east side. I love it here.
All right. So, chat saying rat hour. Drop those rats in the chat. Come on. Let's.
Me too. So here's the thing. Like, if are you done with what you wanted to mention? By the way,
go again.
Because I have to wait.
I'll you go and then I'll continue from where I was saying.
So I wanted to, if I'm using logic, right? Because with agenda piece, we don't use logic. I've told people, remove your brain. It's all about the agenda. If I'm taking away the agenda and going back to logical, I read One Piece seriously. Yes, there's still more to come from Dragon. Loyal. Obviously, if there isn't, he's the greatest fraud that we've ever seen in any medium, as far as I'm concerned. Because you can't be the world's most dangerous man and just not show up. You don't have a choice. You're the father of the MC, right? So, and then your son, your father is the hero of the Marines. So in 3 different worlds, and you have 3 different worlds. You have the revolutionary world, you have the Marine world, and you have the pirate world. And your lineage is at the head of both worlds. So like, dragging being a fraud would also be a disrespect to the story, in my opinion. So Oda, that's what makes me angry though, because he's so important. Oda is like withholding him for so long, as if, okay, we see what Sabo's doing. We see what Kuma did, right? Because we didn't hear a lot from Kuma, but Kuma's done a lot as is. But it's like, what has Dragon shown us to earn the cachet that he's been given? Because I've only heard about him.
It's a lot of tell, not show.
It's a lot of tell. It's a lot of not show. It's a lot of PR, right? And that's why I make fun of him for facing East, because it's like everyone's like, he cares about his son, but Ivankov made such a big deal about him facing East, but I'm like, I've never seen him care. The first time he ever talked about his son ever was in that Kuma flashback. When Kuma saw his son, it's like, yo, I know it. And he's like, and he stops like, yo, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing, Kuma. A child is a parent's weakness. And then it faces East again. And I'm like, why? Where's? And then he saved Luffy, right? That's the only saving grace he really has. is that he saved Luffy, right? And smirked about it and thought he was cool, looked for the cameras, facing east, all of that. So it's still wait and see with Dragon. But I think the problem is that the Kuma flashback did some heavy damage on his reputation. Heavy damage. I think it did a lot more damage than people are giving it credit for, because he was, ironically, Jinny was the Eastern commander. I mean, you're facing east and your Eastern commander is kidnapped. Like, what's going on? But
you were watching.
You were watching as she got kidnapped. But it's like, you see, Kuma's reputation grew immensely within the revolutionaries, and so did Jinny. There were two very popular people, and they were kidnapped by the celestial dragons. Like, have a mission. You don't have to go, but send people out. Show us a speech where he's like, yo, we can't let one of our own be taken by the ops. Let's see if we can have a secret mission to do it.
Try.
And Oda didn't show us anything.
Just try. You know?
Try. And I'm not saying you gotta pull up, but let me see you be like, yo, there's no way we let one of ours go. Sabo, go. Kuma, go. Anything. But instead, we just go back to Kuma and Dragon, and he's like, go where the winds take you. And that's it.
I'd like to know what made the Reverie different than any of these other situations.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things that I feel like we have to get into the story in the first place, because there's so much talk about the flow of time and like fate and destiny and a prophesized time, and it's like, until we get the answers to that, everything just seems like everybody's sitting on their hands. Shanks is sitting on his hands, Dragon's sitting on his hands, Garp's sitting on his hands. Roger was too early. Rayleigh and Shanks made it seem like they had some sort of a plan for everything that's going on, or they know something's going to happen at some point, but we don't know what that is. Now, I could sit here and I could run circles and try and justify some of this stuff, and I actually do think that there is a fair justification from the last chapter, where he's saying a child is your weakness, right? And
which is true in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. In the grand scheme of things, let's look back and not only this flashback, but let's look at how children of criminals have been treated in this story in the first place. So it's like, Dragon's father is Garp, who was there with Roger, with this whole Ace situation, this Port Gazdi Rouge situation. I think that Dragon probably wasn't a Marine at the time. I think he probably would have left by that point. But, you know, what if he was like somehow involved? Like, this is the way to like justify it and make it mean something. What if he was involved in that baby hunt? You know, so like he knows how they move, or he doesn't even need to be a part of it because his dad took in the world's worst criminal's son, right? But now Dragon holds that name. He holds that title for whatever he did off screen. So, you know, so it's like, why wouldn't they go as hard for his kid as they did for Roger's kid? So it's like, I need to separate myself from this entire situation. I'm going to still look this way, but this is my way of protecting him. I'm moving away from this situation. There is no tie because I want this kid to survive. He pulls up to Logtown. Oh, you're going to be a pirate? That's fine by me. Like, I wasn't there for any of this, but that sits with the way that I'm going about things. Then it also kind of recontextualizes a little bit of Garp in the case of like Ace and Luffy. If the reason why he wanted them to be Marines and went so hard body about it is, it's the only way I can protect you. They're not going to come and kill you for your blood if you're locked into the system. If you pledge allegiance to their flag, then I can protect you. If you want to be a pirate and you want to do all this stuff, you're basically, I can't protect you at that point. You're done.
And that makes sense for Garp, yeah.
So it's like, Oda needs to tell us that, though. He needs to spell it out. Like, I'm reading between the lines, and I'm making a good justification for it that I feel a lot of people would be able to get behind. But that's not what's in the text. So all of this stuff, and this has been a big issue with recent chapters and everything, is like, Oda doesn't want to show his hand. So he's telling us a lot of things. He's playing riddles so that he can, because he's so close, I feel like he's so close to giving away the entire game with certain phrases and certain words, and what Dragon did, why he's the world's worst criminal, what is the world government up to, like all of this has to tie into the end game, into the One Piece, and all of this. So it's like, it's in his mind not time, and then it's like one person isn't worth the mission. It's like these guys have been ruling over for 800 years. It's like, all right, I got love for Jinny, but I need everybody I got for that one moment 10 years from now, that we're waiting for. And it's like, it's not as compelling as, okay, I'm, the Luffy way of, they took one of my crew, I'm going to go to Annie's lobby and I'm going to go and, fight the whole world to get them back. Dragon sitting there like, I mean, it's just one person. So it's like, that's the difference between them. But we need to know what he was doing. It's like, there was that chapter, I think it was 1053, Kurouma, new character we've never met, comes in and just starts talking to us. It's just like, this is what Sabo did. Yeah, they fought the admirals, all this stuff. I'm like, that's great. I want to see it. Then we finally see it, 1083, 1084, or whatever, and it doesn't have the same impact because Kurouma just told me everything.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't even need that scene. Show me something else.
Exactly.
Wrap up Wano better, and then just give me this in 1083.
No, so I agree with what you're saying, that we can believe what it is that Dragon's doing, and him not going after Jinny. Yes, it's like we have bigger goals.
Bro, hold on, I gotta.
When I die,
bro, hold on. This super chat.
Have you seen the meme, the actual meme format of that?
No,
Kuma quote?
No, I have not. I'm seeing this for the
I'm
first
about to
time.
find it.
Elliot just said, "When I die, I want my." I can't even get it out. Oh man,
It's about to get spicy.
When I die, I want Monkey D. Dragon to lower me into my grave so he can let me down one last time.
one last time. The fact that Kuma is on the verge of dying alone is what makes it funny. I'll put it in the Discord chat for you to see. That's the image he's getting it from.
Oh wow. Okay. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that
Oh no, you're good. I went through it. I went through that like 2-3 days ago, and I laughed for hours. So I'm with you. You take your laugh in, because it's the truth.
Mid Chocolate said Monkey D. Dragon. The D stands for Dyson because he's an expensive fan.
I love that, and I will be using that one later. I think it's just one of those cases where it's like, it's the biggest wait and see. You've been waiting for the longest time, and the more you wait, the more One Piece fans get upset and they start bringing out the fraud allegations. I mean, it's a little fun game we like to play until Oda decides to show us. And I think the last time we had this type of wait, right, is, do you remember when we all believed Kaido had never been wounded before? Right? And he had like one scar. So like our whole belief was that Kaido could not be wounded at all unless it was some conqueror. And we all predicted it's got to be Conqueror's Haki. That's it. Like Kaido's never been hurt before. He's never taken any damage. And then we get the Hour of Legends. Odin versus Kaido. Everyone's like, this is it. We're going to find out the secret. This is the secret of being Kaido. Yo, Odin's going to show us. We're going to see the Haki. And you just get one slash. Kaido gets hurt. Odin loses. There was no delving into it at all. There was no explanation at all. Odin just cut him. And there was no Conqueror's Haki at all. He just cut him. I remember in that moment, I had the most angry reaction I've ever had to One Piece outside of 1015, which is Sanji and Black Maria. That's the angriest I've ever been. And it was because we were so excited for that revelation and we had been waiting. And it got so mad to the point where I'm like, bro, why did I wait? And then the same thing happened with Eustace Kid, where I'm like, that's it, Kid, Luffy, rivals. It's so obvious. Oda is foreshadowing it. Kid's gonna have a massive role in the story. End of the year, end of One Piece. Kid, Luffy, Law, it's time, Roger, Shiki, all of that. And then we get what happened with Kid. And he gets washed, one-shotted by Shanks. Now it's Shanks, but he got one shot. And everyone's like, bro, and everyone's telling me, just wait. I was one of those guys like, yo, he's showing up. I was the big, Randy, if you go back to my channel, it's a sad sight. I had some very hopeful Kid videos, man. Great Kid videos. Kid will defeat Big Mom. Kid's final hour. Like I was such a defender.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
I thought Kid would be a massive part of the story because of the way Oda was writing him. And now it's like Dragon. Dragon is like this.
Oda told us that Kid would be a major part of the story.
Oda told us, and then look what we got. So my prayer, I don't want Dragon to be a fraud. Let me just be clear for everyone here. I don't want him to be a fraud. But right now, I think it's my PTSD and I think it's my trauma of my expectations for certain characters that have been destroyed. So maybe I'm just acting up. And I'm like, you know what? I'd rather hurt myself now so I don't get hurt later. It's not positive. I'm not trusting Oda. But I think what I want from Oda is sometimes he fails at this. This is one of the gripes I have with Oda is that he needs to give his fans just a little bit more to hold on to. I don't think there's anything wrong with us seeing Dragon give a speech. Like if you're not gonna, we don't need to see, feats. We don't need to see power skill. We don't need to see that. What I want is that leadership. Why does everyone in the Revolutionaries revere him so much? We haven't seen an example of his leadership yet, unless maybe it's something I haven't seen.
We got Kuma head over heels for this man. Like
I'm
gonna die for this man, and it's just like, okay. Like I saw him show up to Ohara with some flowers.
Ohara was already finished. I was like, but you're here.
He grabbed Smoker. He looked east. He
flexed for the cameras. Like everything that I said in that video, it was a troll. People got so offended by it. But I'm like, but what are you hanging your hats on besides what could happen instead of what we've seen? Because if
I trust
Dragon
Oda will give us something.
Exactly.
I've been preaching this all year. I've been the one leading the conversation on, okay, chapter 1100 is 1,000 chapters from Dragon's introduction. Let's get him to Egghead. This is before we got into the Kuma flashback and everything, but it was just like, is he gonna show up? Is he gonna do something? Is he gonna move? Is he gonna give a speech? Something? What do we get? Chapter 1100 comes out. He was there, so I got my little mini W for that. But what does he say? ... Just
3 dots.
But he was there.
But it got so bad that Sabo did so much for the revolutionaries that the street started saying he's more influential than Dragon. And he's the flame enter. I'm like, when is this Dragon PR gonna be cashed in? When? It needs to be cashed in.
Oh my god. Oh man. Look. Oda really could save a lot of this Dragon stuff here if he involves him in the incident. And and it's like geographically it makes no sense because Kamabaka's in the Grand Line and as far as we know, Kuma's the only person who can teleport. But it's like
exactly.
It's been a day. I don't know how long it takes to get there, but it took 2 weeks to get to Whole Cake Island. So I don't know. Like it's we need some like crazy anime logic, but I would love for us to come out of this flashback. Kuma drops in front of Saturn, and we get a whole thing here where it's like a whole Kuma sacrifice play. But the Revolutionary Army pulls up behind all of these like Marine ships, and then Dragon and Sabo take out all of these ships together, and it's like
that would be good,
and then it's like that. And then not only that, but you have Dragon, Sabo, and Ivankov there when Kuma sacrifices himself and dies.
And they rescue Bonnie
exactly
to make up for Jinny. If that happens, then it'd be like, it's about time. That would be the about time, Oda. We see Dragon show up, because if he doesn't, this is going to be a crazy thing to say, Randy, but you got to have to forgive the rat in me. If Dragon doesn't show up to save Bonnie, and Kuma has to die, that meme that we're looking at right now, when I die, I want Dragon alone. What last time? That would be the last time.
It's facts.
It would be pure facts.
Oh, Emil said dragons like the Wizard of Oz, smoke and mirrors. I just that's in my mind that's the only way to really save this, because how many times are you going to let things fly by? You already have Morgan sitting there like, I missed O'Hara, I'm not missing this. He's on his way to Egghead.
He's on his way. He's like, this is a meal for me.
Right. Dragon, I mean, is he sitting having tea at Kamabaka? Like, what is going on here?
I don't know, man. And that's the thing, is like, just show us, like, even show us him on the tactics board. It doesn't even have to be anything like, man, show him like organizing, like send people here, things are weak here, let's go here. Like, show him dictating things, like show a little bit, like not just. And the thing what upsets me is like, everyone's like, okay, well, obviously you can't go see Luffy, you can't reach out to Luffy because of the danger that it could cause him, the revolutionaries, and Luffy himself. But in Marineford,
Frozen Emperor now.
He's an emperor.
Yeah, you gotta protect him.
But that's the thing. To make it even worse, they announced that Luffy was Dragon's son to the streets anyway in Marineford. The cat's out of the bag. They already know Dragon. Send him a letter. A news coup, anything. Like, you don't have to call the Den Mushi. Send him a letter.
Or,
but God forbid.
I mean, even Robin turns to Luffy. Hey, there's something I've been meaning to tell you for, 600 chapters. Like, I spent 2 years with your dad. This is something you need to know.
I spent 2 years with your dad. He didn't leave him a letter. He didn't leave a word of encouragement. I'm proud of you, son. Nothing.
Hey.
As far as I'm concerned, there's no excuse in Dragon for a dad.
Oh, Koala, you hung out with the Straw Hats? How's Robin?
How's Robin? I'm telling you, that was my favorite part of my own video. Is because when I acknowledged that, I'm like, yo, he really just said, how's Robin? I saw your son.
See, but that's why, this is one of my, more wild theories, but it's like, I would love it if Robin ended up being Luffy's half-sister. Like, he doesn't care about Luffy, but it was like, it's like he shows up to O'Hara with flowers because Ovia died. Then he goes and he meets somebody else. And, and it's like, then you have this whole thing where this whole time, Luffy and Robin been sailing together. They're half siblings. Like,
that would be interesting.
Like, I don't think it hurts the story. But it doesn't. No, it's not necessary. It's not necessary either. But it's like,
it isn't. But it would add a new dynamic to Luffy where he gets some real familial connections, like blood family. Because him and Garp, they have a. Luffy loves Garp, but in a weird way where it's kind of very standoffish. But with Robin, like, that's my homegirl. But now we're family. Luffy would start. I feel like Luffy would appreciate the idea of family a lot more, which I think would add a new dynamic to his character.
Especially the Enies Lobby also. Like you.
It would make Enies Lobby mean so much more. Actually,
you broke that down for your half sister, and you didn't even know. But it's
you didn't even know it. But hey, bro, he turns into Dom Toretto out of nowhere, bro. Family. Good, bro. How do you feel? Somebody in the chat mentioned something. Okay, Yasop or Dragon? Who's the worst dad?
Yasop. This man said, first of all, at least like it would be. And I don't know, but after the last chapter with him saying a kid is, his weakness, like Dragon said, like I at least see inner turmoil in that line. Like, I'd like to see my kid. Yasop was like, oh no, I'm not going over there. We're not going to see Usopp or anybody yet. And then Shanks has to be like, no, it's not time. And then Yasop's like, all right. Woo!
And it was Parvish and man. Sorry, not someone. My bad. Yeah. Yasop is crazy. I just don't understand. I'm not ready to see Usopp yet. I'm like, what do you mean you're not ready to see him? You're never going to be ready to see him, bro. I'm telling you. Oh, but
it's like, if Oda comes out, it's like every dad in One Piece is actually just afraid that the government is going to kill their kid because they're a criminal. Then it's like, the streets are going to be like, see, every dad in One Piece is actually clean. They're good. They were thinking of the bigger picture.
Thinking of the bigger picture. That'd be the biggest gimmick in the One Piece world I've ever seen. We can't have it. We just can't have it.
Nah, Yasop, he dug a grave with that line at the end of Wano.
He did. The funny thing is, like, everyone's caught on. I think everyone has now acknowledged Yasop might be the worst father in One Piece outside of, obviously, you know, like, what's the name of Sabo's dad? I set the tip of my
Outlook the Third.
Outlook, yeah, because I at work I use Outlook. Yeah, Outlook, homing. So I had some strong take because I did a collab with Volume 1 podcast. We talked about the worst dads. We talked about homing, and I think someone got offended when I brought up homing being a trash dad on the stream with Murphy. Now I don't think it was trash. I think it was negligence of the highest order of what he did with his kids. Like he had the right idea, but the execution was poor, which ultimately led to his life and led to Dofi's career as a villain and his hatred as a villain.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about it personally, like as a dad?
So I actually, I talked about this in one of my recent videos where I was getting into sins of the father, because it's like, that's the, that's the theme that Oda's working with here. He's, it's Ace suffered the sins of the father for Roger. Luffy's suffering the sins of the father for Dragon, or at least Dragon's worried that he's going to, deal with all of that. And there's countless characters that deal with this, but it's like, it's been villains also. Orochi dealt with sins of the father by just being a Kurozumi, because it's not even, it doesn't necessarily even mean like your own blood. It can be clan, it can be anything. But Doflamingo suffered sins of the father. Like, that man made his choice. He made his decision, which in his mind was like good-natured. It was like, okay, something happened at Marijoa that was like, you know what? I'm done with you guys. I think you guys are worst, evil. Like, I don't want my kids around this. So it's like, it's a whole thing where he wanted to just move, change locations, and try and give his kids a better life. And it's like, from that perspective, like, I understand that and I get it, but you have to put a little more thought into where you're gonna go, because you can't move like that. You can't move like that. That's like a I don't know, some A-list celebrity, or not even a celebrity. Like, it's like if Obama wanted to go and get an apartment in the hood.
Section 8, Obama going to Section 8 housing.
Yeah, and like not expecting to get like just run up on every day.
Yes. Because that's
any president, George Bush.
So like
it's just like
any politician in general, right? Or let's say somebody that's like a Fortune 500 company owner or a CEO decides, hey, you know what? A 1%er, let's say 1%er decides to live in, the ghetto, low income housing in a rough neighborhood. You'd be like, yo, I don't like how my kids are spoiled. Let me put them in this environment. The moment they hear you're a 1%er, you're done. Yeah, you're done.
Elon Musk wants to live with the in the lower world. Like, I want to rough it. I want to see what this is like, and then not expecting people to like just.
Elon Musk moves into a trailer park.
Yeah, Elon Musk moves to a trailer park and doesn't expect people running up like, "Hey man, can I hold something?" Like, it's. So Homing should have just had a little more foresight to be like, all right, you know what? Let me not go right here. Let me go somewhere else. But at the same time, it's like, where could he go? Because that's the tricky thing too.
Parvision is having a fun time in this chat. I don't know if you know this. He said Randy moves West Coast and is already Hollywood level. Yeah.
What does that even mean?
So he's basically saying, damn, Randy, where's the lower world? And he's calling you Hollywood because of it.
Oh, That's what they called it in the official translation with Jinny's line. So in the official translation for when Jinny's on the phone call with Kuma, and she's like, "Oh, I'm here. I'm in the lower world," which was not in the scans and anything like that. So it actually made that scene even more tragic because it showed that they beat it into her that was the lower world, which is crazy.
That's true. That's scary. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way.
Like that was
2 years of indoctrination. Oh boy.
Yeah, no, like that was the worst. That was the worst part of the whole Jinny situation for me, was that she called it the lower world. So that's what I'm referring to. Let's not get it twisted. Lucy B said, Jay and Randy, how much do you like the current flashback? I'm asking because I've seen crazy hatred. I haven't seen any hatred.
I haven't seen any. I mean, I've seen one person be tired of the Kuma flashback, but I mean, they were met with a lot of vitriol. So I'm not sure where the hatred is coming from, but it's not justified.
Yeah, I don't know. Amir Stevens said Homing's action created Doflamingo and Roshinante. Yeah, there's both sides of that coin. But this hatred thing, look, this is one of my most anticipated flashbacks. Like something that it's like Kuma really changed the game when he came into the story in the first place.
I agree.
And everything, and I One Piece is not a paint by numbers story, but it's like up until Thriller Bark, you could kind of say that it's like, okay, Luffy goes to this place, he meets somebody, he learns about the problem of what's going on, he saves the people, we go to the next island. And it's like, this is like the recurring theme of each area. And then we get to Thriller Bark, and it's like, that kind of throws a wrench in it for a second, because it's like, okay, we beat the bad guy, but now this other guy comes in. And that had never happened before. And then not only that, up until that point, everybody's powers were pretty easy to explain. Okay.
Right.
This guy's got the shadow fruit. He puts shadows in it. Okay, I get that. He turns into sand. Okay, he makes you slow. Whatever. This guy, I don't know what he's doing. He can make people disappear, but then he's a robot. He's shooting lasers. What is the deal here? So it's like Oda had this plan for this guy and then had him save everybody. We have lines from the crew saying, hey, all right, we need to understand this a little bit more. And Oda puts it on the back burner for a decade. So it's like, now we're finally getting into this. And is he holding back on some things? Absolutely. Held back on God Valley, naturally. We got to wait for the Garp POV. Can't get it all from Kuma here. But
of course,
we are... The only thing that I could say that is upsetting with this flashback is that we've gotten so many drips and drabs of this over the last 10 years that it's that Kuruma thing that I brought up earlier, where it's like, I would have rather have known none of this and gotten it all here. Things, there's just there's certain elements of it. Like, even we saw the call with Saturn.
Yes.
Like before the flashback, like they teased that memory, and then we get the other side.
Oh, that Bonnie's a little girl.
Not only that Bonnie's a little girl, but that Saturn was involved in the process of turning Kuma into a cyborg, and basically responsible for his death. And then it's like, and then they showed us, like, I don't know, it might have been a panel or two, but it was like him talking to Kuma. So it's like we already knew, like, okay, whenever we get the Kuma flashback, he's involved in this. Like, that kind of stuff is just better when it's organic to me. Like, let's just go into the flashback. Let's go in blind. Let's learn about these things as they go. But we've also known that Kuma was a revolutionary, that he was a tyrant, a pirate, a warlord. Like, what didn't this man do? We got all of his titles. He was a king. Some of this stuff would have been cool if it was held on.
Right.
That's it. That's the only gripe that I have on it. I've been loving it though. It can keep going.
I think that this Kuma flashback is, in my opinion, the most consistent for an extended, as is the most consistent that Oda's been in a certain stretch, and this long of a stretch in a while. In a sense that everything that he writes smells like Prime Oda. Like everything, like from the character interactions to the timing of when he reveals, to the shock value, the emotional impact. I think everything in this Kuma backstory has been a love story to pre-time skip Oda.
Yes.
Where it's like, yo, this is prime time Oda. Like
the book that these notes are in had dust on it before he got to this flashback.
That's what I'm saying. Like everything, like even like the name Pacifista, like just the way that tied together. That's like textbook Oda. The ending scene with Jinny and Kuma when they're crying, I have a full belly. You felt that in your soul, like, okay, I haven't felt that type of emotion in a while. Like Oda hasn't delivered that type of emotion that I felt in a while. Like these are the emotions I felt when, Robin said, I want to live, where you read that and you're like, okay, I feel this. I hear it. I hear it in my ears. I hear it in my soul. Like the poet, like how he showed you how horrible the events of the Hunger Games was on God Valley. Like you could see how violent. It was a very violent affair. And sometimes we take it for granted. People like, I think the last time we felt that type of violence was, even then with Law's backstory, you saw the bodies pile up. So you felt it and you saw the aftermath and you saw the violence. But seeing them actually get shot, slashed, cut, I'm like, Oda is not holding back at all. Like you feel the pain. I'm just like, this is next level. And then he's like, well, I'm cooking, so let me just throw extra Crisco on there. And he gives us a whole panel of the rocks. And I'm like, what is this? I'm like, you already cooking, but now I had to run into my kitchen and get some sort of food. Yeah.
Gloriosa?
Gloriosa. We saw, my God, we had the confirmation of what's her name? Oh my God. Whitebeard and the lady. What's her name? Is it Stella? Stelly? Stussy?
Buckingham Stussy.
Buckingham Stussy. We saw Buckingham Stussy riding on the back of Whitebeard, like, oh, that Weevil actually might be like fraudulent. Like that might be it. Like you're seeing, and we see Shiki, and you're seeing all these guys. I'm like, bro, like none of us thought we were gonna go there.
I'm ready.
Nobody saw, and he went away, and I'm not even angry because I'm like, I didn't even expect this. To me, this was just a bonus. So you can go back. Let me see it later. Take your time, Oda. You're okay. Like settle down, right? So even the way Kuma got the pawpaw fruit, it made sense. It fit the narrative. Thematically, it was beautiful. It fits his character. And it's like, I mean, and as a Christian, seeing him, dedicate himself to the Lord, I was like, all right, well, now I'm just eating on a spiritual level. So I'm like, this is a completely different story here. But, that all aside, I think a lot of people missed this, or maybe they didn't. But like the fact that he was taking the pain of all the elders already, and to him, that was his sacrifice. You go all the way back to when he told Zoro to do it. He's like, all right, well, let me test you, bro. Let me test you. How much do you love this captain of yours? And it makes it better because Kuma already knew who Luffy was. He knew who Luffy was way back then. So he already has that connection to Dragon. So he's like, yo, let me make sure these guys really about to die for Dragon's son, because he actually means a lot to me. But do I trust y'all? And then when do
you ride for him the way I ride for Dragon?
Do you ride for Dragon? Exactly, right? About to say, like, are you about this life or not? And I'm just like, bro, it's like when Oda writes something and it makes so much around it makes so many events around the story better and adds more context. That's what Prime Oda looks like. That's how I envision it. That's why I'm like, oh, so he had planned this back then. He planned this then, and that makes more sense now. This makes more sense now. I rarely got that in Wano. These are the things I was looking for in Wano. People's like, oh, you only worried about the fights. We barely got any fight. There was no fights in this backstory. So it's not about the fights. There was no scaling. It's not about the power scaling. It's about Oda doing what he does best. And the Kuma flashback is what Oda does best. It embodies everything that he does best. So I've just had a great time. For anyone to hate it, just say you hate Oda. Just say you hate him. That's it. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's all I would say. Just say you hate Oda.
One of my favorite things as a One Piece fan was when Chapter 500 came out and Rayleigh was introduced. And then everybody went back to Chapter 19 and was like, yo, look at this guy hitting Shanks and Buggy. He's got the same beard. This is the same guy. Oda planned this all the way back then. That kind of stuff wasn't in Wano.
No.
So, and it's like, and you know, it's not to bring the disrespect in. It's that Wano was a post time skip specific arc. There were some subtle callbacks to Thriller Bark, you know, with Moria and all of that, and Ryuma, but it's not to the level of the way that this flashback and a lot of things in Egghead really feel like Oda could have gone from Sabaody and then gave us Egghead.
Yes.
You know,
he could have.
Like it's like I feel like I feel like we could cut a lot of the post time skip out, come to Egghead, and it would feel like it would just it's just continuing.
You know, it's funny you say that, because thinking about it now, Sabaody and Egghead seem so familiar with the same players of Kuma and Kizaru. Like, those are like the two major players of Egghead along with Rayleigh. Sentomaru, so many major players coming all together. At the time, we didn't know how connected all three of them were, but they came up together.
Yeah.
Kizaru came up with Kuma, like he watched.
That was a crazy thing to see. With, you know,
bro,
the fact that he's an admiral, and they were like, "You're on babysitting duty."
Yeah,
one of the 3 top Marines for however long was sitting on Egghead.
Yeah, having pizza, beer, dancing with the ops. He's doing the Nika dance. He's dancing with the enemy. Like, literally, I couldn't believe it. It's one of my favorite things about Kizaru. Kizaru is my favorite admiral by a large margin now. Like, the capitalist agenda, the drip, all of it. It's my favorite. It's my favorite gimmick in One Piece. This man is so negligent to his duties as a Marine sometimes. I just couldn't believe it. And it's like, there's no way Kuma didn't tell him about the Nika story. Like, there's no way Kuma didn't tell him. So it's like they're all doing the dance. But it's like, seeing Kizaru in that light, it plays into his character that he is literally just a vibe lord. That's it. He's just there to vibe and do his job. That's it. 9 to 5 admiral. That's what Kizaru is. Textbook 9 to 5. Give me my check. Do I have my 401k? I'm going home. I'm going to happy hour. That's Kizaru. right there. Yep. That's it.
Is it 5? Is it 5? This fight's over.
Is it 5? Yeah, it's over. Sorry, guys. Yeah. I gotta wrap this up. I'm off the clock in 5 minutes. And it's funny.
If you guys are still here in the morning, hey, you know, but
I'll see you. And it's crazy because he has the light fruit, so he can do things quickly. He's a procrastinator, but he's an ultimate procrastinator because he moves at the speed of light to get his task done. Once he stops sandbagging, it's like, all right, well, time to wrap things up. And then that's when you see him. Like, it was so funny. Go back to Sabaody, because we're talking about the Sabaody parallels. Kizaru was being lazy the whole time, letting Drake chop him up, Oroge, all of that nonsense. Checks his watch, it's almost 5 o'clock. Brings out the mirror, hits a poo running away, destroys Drake, destroys Oroge, all in a matter of like 3 minutes. And I was like, yo, why does this guy do this? I love Kizaru, man.
Yo, man. And then, you know, I'm glad that Oda put that little panel of Drake showing that he was like under Kizaru for a little bit.
Yeah, that was
because Drake was, if I'm not mistaken, the second person in the story to name drop Vegapunk at all. Because in the archipelago, he's like, wait, did Vegapunk add Kizaru's lasers to these things? So it's like he already knew about this project, and then Oda's bringing it back around and showing, oh, he was there too. I don't know. I went back and I reread the archipelago pretty recently, and seeing those layers, it's all there. Oda knew. He may not know everything, but he knew all of that. Like, he came out and he said he made up all of the supernovas and all that on the spot. Yeah, whatever. But the Kizaru, Kuma, and Sentomaru connection, I feel like
he knew that stuff.
He knew that stuff. He knew the Vegapunk thing. He was like, all right, I'm going to tie this guy to an admiral. I'm going to do all this stuff. Like, that's what I'm just excited to get into exactly what this incident ends up being. I don't think we have a lot of Egghead left.
No, I don't think so either. I would say maybe like 5 to 10 chapters left of Egghead we have before we move on to Elbaf, probably. I would even add, I think with Wano, there was a lot of side characters that won't stand the test of time, unfortunately. Like, I also think a lot of the scabbards are gonna be long-term favorites. Like, we have a lot of, like, every arc kind of has their favorite. Like, okay, I'll remember that person. Like, I don't think Thriller Bark really had it. Well, Perona actually. Perona is very prominent.
Stood the test of time.
The test of time, right? And I think with Wano, it would probably be Yamato, but that's more for the controversy around Yamato more than the actual character, unfortunately. But when you think about Jinny, I feel like the way Oda writing a character like Jinny and how she tied into the story, I think was just so good. I think Jinny is 100% going to be on a bunch of waifu tier lists when people are doing them now. I think in terms of best girl, in One Piece, Jinny's going to start hitting the top 10s because, I mean, you want to talk about a ride or die. You want to talk about a queen? That girl stood by Kuma and saw everything. Came up with Kuma, stood by him, said, I want to marry you. She didn't play around with him. It was just Kuma had his own self-hating nature where he missed out on having a lovely family, a ride or die wife. But at the end of the day, they still kind of had the family. He just didn't get to experience it with Jinny, which makes her character more tragic, but also more impactful. Because now when I see Bonnie, I see Jinny. I see Jinny completely.
And that's why we got to take down this government, man.
Oh yeah, they got to go.
Because it's like, that.
They got to go.
Kuma could have been happy. He could have been happy.
They got to go. For what they did to Kuma and Jinny, I said this, when that, what's her name? Alpha, the CPA girl, when she ripped up those letters, Randy.
Oh.
The violence in my heart, I'm telling you, the violence I had in my heart was not healthy. It wasn't healthy. It was not healthy for me. It wasn't healthy. It was not healthy. I could not, I don't think I could barely breathe. I was that angry.
That was one of the worst things I've ever seen Oda do. And it's like, I was like, in a story that has as much wild stuff in it to begin with.
Yeah. Top 10 worst things I've ever seen in the story.
And bottom 5 characters. Like she went into bottom 5. She went into bottom 5 right there.
That's what I'm saying. People's like, I can fix her. Don't fix her. I don't want her fixed. I want her finished.
What?
Yeah.
I want her to have had a devil fruit, and when Bonnie knocked her into the water, that was it.
That's it. I'll watch her drown. The whole community would watch her drown slowly. Be like, this is great. I'd get popcorn. I'd sell tickets.
I want Khalifa to have said to Iceberg, hey, I got to go to the South Blue for a funeral. My sister just died.
That's it. Oh, my Lord. So and I think, oh my God, I forgot to mention. Please tell me you did not feel the way Bonnie decimated Alpha. Did you not feel a little bit of Bellamy and Luffy in that hit? Because I kind of felt it. I'm not going to lie. I felt, because I would have really
what it was for me?
Impact of that punch. What?
It was Luffy and the Lord of the Coast for me.
Okay. To be fair, that makes sense. Going out on the pirate journey, the final yeah, I see it.
Like, it's taking down your childhood oppressor. So that's...
the Lord of the Coast did eat Shanks' arm. Right. I didn't put that together. Yep. And that's fair. That's a good parallel.
1,100 chapters from chapter 1. Both chapters end the same way.
Yeah.
Luffy punches the Sea King. Bonnie sets off on her journey. A lot of people are saying, Bonnie for Straw Hat. I want Bonnie to end up with the Revolutionary Army.
Bonnie for Revolutionary should be the final conclusion. I think it's poetic justice. I think she shouldn't end anywhere else but the Revolutionaries, in my opinion. Yeah. That's her final destination. And on the topic of Bonnie, that devil fruit, what? Because if it's what I've heard the explanations, that is a stupidly broken devil fruit. What do you think it is? Like, can you explain that to me? Because I'm not registering what her powers are, because if she can just like take the futures of certain individuals and distort it into her own powers, that's broken. That's like a Mazo from DC. She's basically just a Mazo.
So my thing is, you know, Vegapunk clued us into his theory toward the beginning of Egghead, where he's like, we owe all there is to desire. I feel like he was basically telling us that devil fruits and the names that they have in the first place are a box. And if you can, and this also goes back to things that Crocodile and Doflamingo said to Luffy, you know, paraphrasing, I'm not saying what they're saying, but it's like, if you can break out of that box, you can use your devil fruit in different ways. So I'm not trying to say here that this is Bonnie awakening or anything like that, but I think the devil fruits have parameters that just can look at Kaku, right? The wild things that he was doing as a giraffe. But when he also ate the fruit, he didn't know what it was. Khalifa didn't know what it was. And Kaku was saying he loved giraffes. So it's like, was he thinking about giraffes and they ate the fruit and then he became a giraffe because it's what he was thinking about? But then he had this weird idea of what giraffes could do, and like, oh, I'm going to slingshot the neck, I'm going to do this, because he's thinking about it. So it's, are you only bounded by your own imagination? We see Luffy breaking through that imagination barrier. Like, this is wacky, and, you know, I don't know if I completely co-sign it, but I'm just like, is this what Oda's trying to tell us? So it's this thing where Bonnie she's a child. She doesn't know anything about what her fruit is or anything, and it's like, she just randomly had the power. So
Savage.
Her desire to want to be older, did it manifest the fruit in the first place? I need to be 10, I need to be 10, I need to be 10, I need to be 10. She wished on it so hard that she manifested the power, and then now using her imagination, thinking about Nika, she's able to do it. Now that's the wild way. The more logical way is she's just moving around the body mass that she would have as an adult into one arm. So, you know, that's the scientific explanation. But I feel like Oda's going to be going for something more like the former.
I mean, it's funny because when Vegapunk explained that, it still seemed a little too vague for me, because it's like, that's not a full answer. He said it's a hypothesis. And I'm like, it makes sense. So what comes to mind is like Kaido, right? How Kaido never used an awakening, which to me is shocking. Like, why would Kaido never...
in the anime, they gave him the awakening eyebrows, though.
Did they?
Yeah. At like later in the fight, they colored his eyebrows like as if he was awakened.
It's possible he could have been awakened, right? And if he wasn't, then it's like, is that down to Kaido's personality? You know, because you remember Kaido's thinking was, no one's ever conquered the world with a devil fruit. So Kaido got his devil fruit, but he thought, all I need is haki. This devil fruit is just a means for me to use more haki. And maybe that's why Kaido never unlocked the depths of his devil fruit. So Kaido actually could have been stronger, right? That's probably why, because you remember Kaido's statement,
I see that,
as he was getting off the ship, right? Roger, he's the only guy that I haven't. He's probably so obsessed with Roger and beating Roger. And he saw that, oh my God, Roger is beating me without a devil fruit. Or Roger beats everyone without a devil fruit.
Someone cooked here.
It's only haki for me. Big Mom gave him that fruit to save his life. So Kaido didn't even seek out the fruit. So it could be a case that Kaido never took his fruit seriously. He just had it. And since he's a good fighter, it's like, oh, I can go hybrid form. Or I can turn into a dragon. But when Kaido's really serious, it's haki. It's all haki. That's it. I
feel like that could be where Oda's trying to go with all of this.
It could corroborate the theory that and then you know what, this actually aids my agenda, because Kid pissed me off because I feel like his devil fruit, there's so much more potential in that fruit, but because Kid
had
is
no
probably
imagination.
so limited, no imagination.
A man named
Limited-
Kid with no imagination.
Bro, it's unbelievable. I'm like a mechanical bull, magnets. Like, brother, I'm telling you, there's so much more ways to use your magnetism. If you just read a physics book, oh my God, you'd be broken. But instead, you're making giant mechanical bulls.
He's just trying out for the WWE.
He's just Randy Orton. That's what I was telling people. He's just literally a glorified Triple H running around. I'm like, there's so much more for you to do. But then you look at Law and look at his fruit. Law's got his bag is so deep.
Not only that, going into what we're talking about as well, he basically turned his fruit into Corazone's fruit.
Yes.
Imagination.
Exactly.
Can I do this?
Imagination. Big Mom's fruit. Healing her own bones by taking a soul. Like that's
now, she had imagination.
A Big Mom had. I called her Unlimited Bag Works because she had such a deep bag. It was crazy. So it's like, for me, it's like your testament as a fighter is, especially with a devil fruit. If you're going to be a devil fruit fighter, your imagination has to be up there. And I think when you look at someone like Rob Lucci, I think since he's a prodigy, he probably has that superiority complex where it's like, yo, I can do whatever I want. So I'm going to be, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Frieza. Frieza never trained because he was always a prodigy. So he felt like he never had to train to beat the Saiyans. But when he faced Goku and, Resurrection of F, he's like, oh man, I should train. And he just unlocked a new form. But that can be a crutch for some people. Some people never get over being a prodigy because they believe they don't need to do much to reach someone else. But someone with talent and hard work always beats someone with just talent.
But instead, he came back to Egghead and he got Trunks versus Cyborg Frieza.
Oh my God, bro. Frieza. Oh my Lord.
Very motivated said Alpha belongs at the bottom of the trash can with Spandam, Orochi, Hawkins, and Ulti. I said what I said. I love that list. I co-sign.
Spandam slander. I'm always on board for Spandam slander.
Yeah.
Also, how do we have 600 people in here and only 33 likes? Unless my stream is not working.
What?
We need to do better. Oh, 200. Never mind. Okay. I just refreshed my stream. It's okay.
It's okay.
Still,
we can still do better than that.
We can still do better than 202 likes, but yes. We can do way better than that. Like the stream, y'all.
Come on, guys.
Together we're stronger.
Together.
Absolutely.
Together we're stronger.
What else is on your mind, sir?
Oh, man. Let's see. Top Goon said Law is a Nepo baby doctor, Kid's a poor tinkerer.
Nepo baby doctor. Oh my God, I didn't think about that.
Oh man. That's why he hid the name Water, because it just spoke to his nepotism.
That makes sense. I would say, is there anything else? Oh, Jump Festa. When Oda said that person will finally fight that person. Who do you think it is? Because I have an idea of what I think it is, but it's riddled with agendas. So, like, what do you think?
Luffy and Shanks?
I don't. So the only reason Luffy and Shanks would ever fight each other is because of Kid, right?
See, I have my own thoughts on everything. I feel like being a great pirate in Luffy's mind is a strength feat. So
true, it is.
It's like one of the things where I in my mind, the way I always see it, and I've talked about this before, but it's like I feel like it's on sight the moment that Shanks and Luffy meet. Like, he's just gonna start hockey blasting, Luffy's gonna go Gear 5, and he's gonna show Shanks that his punch is really a pistol now. Like, that's, in order to prove that he's a great pirate, he's gotta beat Shanks. That's the way I see it.
You know what's funny? I think it's Shanks and Blackbeard. I think that last road poneglyph, Shanks has everything to do with it. It's definitely an Elbaf. Blackbeard will catch wind of it. Because remember, Blackbeard's ship is going to Egghead. It may not be Blackbeard, but that ship is going there.
Mhm.
So what if they overhear, like Blackbeard's famous for doing this, they overhear, we're going to Elbaf, a road poneglyph in Elbaf. They hear something along those lines. Or there's an ancient weapon in Elbaf. They call it Denden Mushi, Blackbeard. There's a road poneglyph at Elbaf. Luffy's going to meet Shanks now. Blackbeard and Shanks pull up to Elbaf, or Blackbeard gets to Elbaf before Luffy. Fight Shanks, does some snake stuff. Beat Shanks, which that's my biggest theory, is that Blackbeard's gonna wash Shanks before Luffy even sees him. A lot of people would be upset with that. A lot of people would be upset with that. I would win. I'd get my joy back. It'd be fantastic. That's it. I'd point to my video. Everyone would hate me, but I'd be up. Then Luffy has extra motivation to chase Blackbeard to the ends of the earth for that last road poneglyph, or to get his get back against. But I'm telling you, bro, because Oda said something that was important. I think he said the results would be surprising, or maybe it's an unexpected result. Like, he emphasized the result would be interesting. So I think the result of Luffy versus Shanks wouldn't be interesting to me, if I'm not gonna lie to you. There'd be a certain expectation of what comes out of it. But a more interesting result would be between Blackbeard and Shanks, to me. And maybe to many others.
So I feel like we're definitely going to Elbaf next. Not this Jump Fest, the message, but I think it was last year's. Oda promised us a Battle Royale. And we still haven't gotten that yet. So, and I think that Battle Royale is actually going to be all of the Yonko. So we're talking Luffy, the Cross Guild, Shanks, and Blackbeard. And whether that's at Laugh Tale or at Elbaf, I would prefer it's at Elbaf because it ties into Ragnarok. So it's like you have this massive war that's going on down there. But we know how Blackbeard, he's an opportunist, so he might just wait in the wings. So the way that I see it is, if I was going to do it, I'd have Luffy and Co. They get to Elbaf, they start exploring. Cross Guild are the first people to pull up. My agenda has always been Davy Back fight against the Cross Guild. Okay. So, got that. They need to get up because they don't have rubbings. So that's their goal. This is how we get Luffy. This is how we get Zoro versus Mihawk. Maybe Shanks interrupts this, or Blackbeard interrupts this, or whatever. But it's, it doesn't actually. Maybe it doesn't actually end here, right? But it kicks off the Battle Royale. So if it's a Shanks situation, then it's like maybe Luffy and Shanks fight. They get tired. They start laughing about things, and then that's when Blackbeard comes in. He's just like, okay, now that you guys are tired,
yep,
say ha 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 ha,
And that's textbook Blackbeard, yes.
Exactly. So then you get textbook Blackbeard. Maybe that's where he kills Shanks. Luffy can't do anything because he just used every ounce of his power
ability to
combat God. Shanks.
He'll be so ready.
So the
readiest thing in One Piece.
Yeah, so he proves that he's a great pirate. But then Blackbeard, as always, gets a W because that's all he does. He's the DJ Khaled of One Piece. All he does is win. So he's got to get.
That's it, bro.
He's got to get to
another one, and another one.
Then it becomes this rat race. You like that? Because it's rat race to Laugh Tale.
Yeah, I get it.
And Buggy's got to be there. He's got to be at Laugh Tale.
Yeah.
He didn't get to go, so he's got to be there. In my mind, Shanks really should be there. I know that I see, but the thing is, it's like I like the idea of Blackbeard killing Shanks. Like, I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we get it, but we might. Because I feel like at that point, then the Battle Royale has to happen on Laugh Tale. Because I feel like because Shanks and Buggy didn't get there, they both have to get there.
Yeah.
He's got to see it, but maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But that's also why the Revolutionary Army needs to play a role in Egghead, because I don't see them playing a role in Elbaf. It's like let's get all of this, all of this out of the way. We already know the plot is demanding that Luffy, Vivi, and Sabo have to have a conversation. Vivi's already on her way to Egghead. If Sabo shows up, we can get that out the way. If that conversation has something to do where we learn the truth of what the world government's been going up to, and then there's like this split faction thing where they have to go to Elbaf because they have to get the last poneglyph, and then the Revolutionary Army is going to go back to Marijoa to start storming the castle, and Luffy's like, yeah, I'll meet up with you guys after I go handle this. I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of loose ends that got to get tied up. And I think it's going to happen faster than people think.
I think so too. And something I want to go back to, calling Blackbeard the DJ Khaled of One Piece. I know your meme game is one of the best we've seen in the community, Randy. I need DJ Khaled standing up randomly for no reason with that wine glass, but I need Blackbeard features on him. Randy, please. I know you, and I know you're going to do it. Please make that happen. Oh my God. It's like, I need to see that. I just need to see that. Because DJ Khaled even has the build of Blackbeard, so it makes too much sense not to do it. Oh my God.
Oh.
No, brother. I appreciate you. This sounds like a new opportunity.
So good, man. DJ Kurohige, that makes sense.
Oh man, this is just him like pointing, saying you smart.
You're smart. You loyal.
Yeah. Let's see.
Opportunist. True.
Third Eye Guy Michael Lacoste, member for 29 months, said, I'm an hour late, but I'm here for the Kings of YouTube piece. Appreciate you, brother. Paths GFX said, what if Bonnie's Devil Fruit is so broken because a kid's future potential is limitless? Wondering if maybe that's why she needs to be a little girl in order to access distorted futures. I mean, anything is possible, and hopefully we get more answers to all of this. Maybe it's some Vegapunk exposition, but we need more. We need more. Yamil Diaz, who takes down Saturn? Luffy, Bonnie, Kuma, no one? Question mark. I want it to be Kuma, but after Luffy was practicing battle axe in the last chapter, I want to see a Gear 5 gigantic foot crush the spider now.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I kinda do
Saint J.
Hey, look, I disowned him. I have no association with that guy at all. I don't know who that guy is as far as I'm concerned. He's only the devil. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm not a part of that. I am no Garcia.
Yeah. I mean, my middle name is Marshall, so I got two examples of that. I got Mars,
oh, there you go.
Saint Mars, and I got Marshall D. Teach.
Mars. It's like after that, the funny thing is like I'd hopped out of it once I saw the pentagram. I was like, yo, I'm disowning him right then and there. Only to see what he did to Kuma. It's like, yo, I'm so glad I jumped ship. Because imagine if I had not, oh my God, it'd be over. My career would be over. They'd run me off YouTube. I'd be done.
Yeah.
I'd never recover. I would never. Oh, the shorts I made of him too. Called him my grandpappy. I was so proud of it. Celestial Dragons are garbage, man.
I will never financially recover from this.
Never.
Alejandro Salas said, what do you two think are the Devil Fruit's technology based powers that were made during the Void Century, or magic from before? I'm leaning more into the magic of it all. I think I think the technology is what Vegapunk is doing now to recreate what was made from dreams and wishes of the kingdom. Neil said, what if Akainu goes to Elbaf? He'd be like Surtur. That's interesting. I was really expecting Akainu to play a role in the Kuma flashback. Like, it felt like there was a lot of, there was like something personal there. when we
at Mary Joa's, right? It seemed like he was questioning, like, Kuma, why are you doing this? I thought so too, which was very interesting.
And you have the Bonnie scene right before the time skip with the Kainu and Bonnie. So it was like, was Sakazuki a part of his past? Like, I thought we would see him at Sorbet or something, or maybe he was at God Valley. Because he would have been 17, Dragon would have been 17. Like, I was all in on Dragon and Sakazuki being part of the Marines at God Valley and, like, getting two different sides of what happened there. But then apparently Oda said that Sakazuki didn't join the Marines until he's 23, and I'm like, damn, it's like you have this prime real estate for character.
Yeah.
You blew it.
And then hearing that Dragon was part of the Marines as well, I'm like, bro, like, this is it. This is the storyline. Like, you need this. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Let's see. What do you think's gonna come from the Cross Guild, man? Last time we talked about them, they were just created. What are you expecting from them? You have any expectations?
I don't have any real expectations yet, besides the fact that they're going to show up when it's time for the rat race to begin. I don't think their role is really going to become, until that fourth poneglyph is found, I don't think they're really going to come to light. We've got all we need from Crocodile and Mihawk's reason for fighting. Anyway, I think Mihawk has no reason to fight anybody unless Shanks or Zoro's involved at this point. You know, unless we're getting another draw coming between Vista and Mihawk, right?
Well, we know that the Seraphim pulled up, so we gotta figure out what happened there.
That's true. So if the Seraphim pull up to Mihawk, and so Mihawk fighting his own Seraphim would be interesting, right? I think that.
I just thought of this now. But it's like Oda does a thing where he's like, the day before, right? And we see them dealing with all of this. And then they beat the Seraphim or whatever. Or they get away. And then they're just pissed. And then they get involved in Egghead because they want to talk to Vegapunk about why they were cloned.
Right.
Like, that would be maybe a little interesting. I am expecting that Moria pulls up with Perona, though. I think that...
To the Cross Guild?
Yeah. I think that Perona, after freeing Moria from Hachinosu, will be like, oh, we gotta... Mihawk will protect us.
Oh, we got a proposition for you. And then Moria joins the Cross Guild. Mm-hmm. What if... Oh, you know what? Okay. Buggy recruiting all 7 of the OG warlords outside of Jinbei would be such a Buggy thing to do.
Yep.
Where it's like, they break Dofi out of prison. That's it.
Well, that's already happening. Well, that's already happening with Marco is already on his way there to get Weevil out. So Dofi's going to get out regardless.
Marco's on his way to get Weevil out of prison? Is that a thing?
Yeah. I mean, it's implied. When he showed back up to Sphinx, Bakin was there and was like, you got to get my you got to go save my son. Green Bull took him over to Impel Down. And then it was... And now what I got out of that is Marco is on his way to stage a breakout at Impel Down.
Right.
So that's going to free a bunch of people. Mr. 2 will probably get out. Senor Pink will get out. He was already, set up with the green blood and everything. So Senor Pink in the Cross Guild, Dofi in the Cross Guild. Then you get all of the warlords. If it's just those 5, I'm cool with it because they were at Roger's execution. So it's like, and then you have the Chapter 0 panel where it's all 5 of them in a row watching the execution, and then it's like these guys are actually the Cross Guild.
I could be on board for that. I haven't really thought about the Cross Guild in a while because I've been so absorbed by the Kuma backstory and the Revolutionaries and Dragon because I think we've waited for them so long. But maybe once, also we're in a flashback. So once we're out of Egghead and we're back to current events, I think once we come back to Egghead, we're going to get a lot of Aftermath stuff. And you know what Aftermath piece is like. Aftermath piece is chaos incarnate.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
I've been preaching math piece lately, like not just aftermath.
So current piece. What's actually going on?
No,
right
like
now?
literal numbers, man. Because it's like, so Elbaf.
Oh, like the numbers of the chapters. Okay.
Yeah, Elbaf was introduced in chapter 115. So that's been my thing where it's like I feel like we're either on the way or we're there by 1115, 1,000 chapters after that. So that's my current prediction as far as like what Egghead has left. And we are getting into a time period where it's like Vivi was introduced, Crocodile was introduced, Mr. 3 was introduced, Giants were introduced, like all of this stuff is coming. Blackbeard was mentioned. We're within 30 chapters of all of these things happening, so it's like if Oda culminates all of this in to what's happening next, and it's all 1,000 chapters after that.
Yeah.
Good.
There's a lot to come. We're at a very good time to be a manga reader, and while I think the community has been slowing down a little bit in terms of the hype because we're kind of reaching the end of the Kuma flashback. We're getting some wholesome stuff right now, but I think Oda normally does that, the calm before the storm type of chapters. Do you think this is the end? Do you think that Bonnie panel is the end of the Kuma backstory, or do you think we're getting one more piece of that Kuma backstory?
No, I think we're. I think we're getting more. I think we need to follow it through, and I would love if it was a situation where we get a little more context on Logetown. You know, like we're at the time where Luffy's about to set sail on his journey, so it's like we could see the parallel journey that Bonnie is on.
Yeah,
Oda might try to give us a different angle of the archipelago, show us that Kuma was sitting in the wings watching Bonnie from afar.
But so here's something I find interesting. When is he supposed to lose all his individuality? What was the timeline of that? Because he was still writing letters, but at the same time, he also was observing Luffy just before he set sail, to go on his journey. So like,
when he showed up at Archipelago,
chronologically, right?
When he showed up at the Archipelago, he said that like my situation is getting precarious now. Like I think that's the quote. And then when he goes up to, that's what he tells Rayleigh, which I'm interpreting as like I don't have much time left. And then he goes up to Luffy and he says, "We will never meet again." And then
right. And
then when he is there at Marineford and it's him, he has no memory anymore. So it's like it's right in between that time. Those 2 days that Luffy was flying in the air, the 5 days that it took him to get to Impel Down, all of that. So it's like that week, he's done.
Oh, okay. And then they turned him. Oh, you know what? That makes it so sick because once he lost his individuality, that's probably when Garcia told him to take him back to Mary Joa and then rent him as a slave. That's probably like Garcia's like sick get back. Like we finally got you.
Well, what I think actually is because he also has to tell Vegapunk to put in a directive that after the war he goes back to the archipelago and watches their ship. Right? So during the 2-year time skip, if Saturn's sitting there twiddling his thumbs, like he has no idea where Kuma is, and when they finally like figure it out, then that's like, okay, well, you didn't listen to me for this. Your daughter became a pirate, whatever. It's just like now you're gonna be a slave because of that. We need the context there. We need there's
we know
that if the flashback goes for another 2 chapters because of that, I'm okay with it because I want that. I want that context.
Too. I'm not opposed. If
I
Oda wants to take
2-3
more chapters, just finish the flashback because you've built up enough. So as far as I'm concerned, the more answers I get from the flashback about Kuma, the happier I become. So I'm fine. I'm fine with this. I'm fine with us continuing for a couple of chapters.
Yeah. So that's what I think, and then we'll come back just in time for Kuma to pull up for Morgans to pull up in the blimp, which may be the way that Straw Hats get out of this situation. Because that's the only thing that I feel like is almost a guarantee. I want Dragon to pull up, but Morgans is the only one that really implied he was heading there for the scoop.
Yeah. I don't think Dragon's gonna show up.
We'll get more of this.
More of that east.
Yep.
That's it. I'm telling you. I swear, if the next panel I see Dragon, if he's looking east, I'm gonna tell him he's not beating those allegations. That's it. Someone called him. You know how they had the Southbird in Skypiea? They said that Dragon is basically just an East bird. He can't help it. He can only look east.
That's the fruit he ate. That. He ate the East bird no me. The Tori no me model East.
And that's where the wind comes in, because he can flap his wings.
Flap his wings. Yeah, there we go.
That's my new agenda. There it is. We figured out his devil fruit, chat. We figured it out. It's a mythical Zoan bird fruit, right? It's a mythical Zoan, but he can only face east. I get it. I'm tapped in.
Brian Carter super chat said, "Do you think we're getting a full fight with Saturn and the Marines, or a quick escape?" I have my thoughts. What do you think?
Quick escape. We're not going to full fight with Saturn. Not yet. Not yet.
I would love if the incident involves Saturn's death or something, but it's like, I think it's everybody escapes while Kuma takes care of it.
What if Saturn dies, then there is no other option for the gauntlet to begin. Like, that means it's a full frontal assault, like the revolutionaries, not the revolutionaries. Well, one, it's the ultimate opening for the revolutionaries, for them to move and make a full frontal assault. But then the government, the God Knights are going to be sent out at that point. Like, everybody, like all Luffy, the Optive, because Big News Morgan is going to blame Luffy. So it's going to be a full out frontal assault. Kill Monkey D. Luffy, no matter what it takes. Kill him. It's over. Just kill him.
Savage.
That's what it's going to be. Then it's chaos. Then it's chaos piece. There's no more order. There's no more structure. It's just chaos piece.
That's what I want. That's what I want. I want chaos piece. I've wanted it for a while.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what we want, the last time we had chaos piece was Marineford. So
yeah, and
maybe
there's too many archipelago parallels for it to not be a quick escape, in my opinion. It's just
I agree.
They've got 100 ships outside. They've got a bunch of Marines inside. They've got one of the strongest creatures in the verse, as far as we know, with Saturn right there. So this should be a situation where they got to go lick their wounds and figure out and get more information on what they're actually dealing with.
Yeah.
And maybe those answers are at Elbaf or from Vegapunk on the way to Elbaf.
Probably Vegapunk on that. Vegapunk would be such a useful person to have tag along.
Yeah.
Such a useful person, because it's just like he's gonna have a very informative take on everything that they see. And I'm kind of here for those random Vegapunk dumps.
Yeah, because that's Oda telling us everything. He is exposition the character, and I need him to start leaning into that a little bit more. So yeah. I mean, he said, "Hey, look, I need to get off this island. Please take me on your ship." So, and Luffy agreed. So we need Vegapunk on the ship and just talking away as they're driving away.
Yep.
But yeah, man. I mean, this has been a really wild year for One Piece in general. Like, it's just,
it has been.
I think it's been one of the best years. Like,
I think, yes, from every perspective, from every level, yes, I'd say it's been one of the best One Piece years. From the ending of Wano to Egghead to the live action to the anime, which is the anime has been shining brightly.
Oh yeah.
Very, very brightly for a while. So it's been a very strong year for Oda and One Piece. in general, and there's only more to come, which is great.
Yeah, they just said that we're getting a new opening. Hiroshi Kitani is coming back. So,
and what opening did they do?
We Go, Over the Top.
Over the Top. I did like Over the Top.
So I mean, he's the OG. They bring him back, OG. And the same singer who did Memories, the first ending, coming back with the new ending.
Okay.
Now, so some people are speculating that maybe we're getting a new version of We Are and a new version of Memories.
We don't need a new version of We Are. Not for Egghead.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with Memories coming back though, because that never really had a reprise, and it's like if it's all the new Straw Hats and they're like looking out to the sunset like the first ending, I'm okay with that. I want that.
Okay.
But I'm okay with new songs too. It's just, but I don't know. That's insane.
Bring back upbeat One Piece openings. This soft Naruto opening for One Piece just does not fit the story. It does not, and just people tried to convince me. I was so unmoved. And One Piece they have too many good openings for us to switch the vibe. Like Onigashima, Wano, why was it so soft? Why was it not intense? Why? And
you go back to Marineford.
Songs.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yes, and that's like, and people love One Day with Ace and Luffy, everyone loves that. I didn't. And it's not because it's bad, because objectively it's good. It's a good song, visuals match. But I always tell people a great opening for me is if you match the vibe. Yeah, you gotta match the vibe in the context of what's going on. I love opening 12, where when Ace is walking up the stairs to the scaffolding. I love the song, but it doesn't match the vibe either. So I'm like, enough, right? Enough. But like, Share the World. I love Share the World. That's opening 11. That is Impel Down. That's the Impel Down opening.
Impel Down one was good.
Very good. It matches.
Is it Hard Knock Days? The one during
Hard Knock Days with Dressrosa,
where Luffy's like big giant fist comes through the
giant fist comes out.
That one was really good.
That matched
the vibe. Well. Over the Top matched the vibe of Wano, and it was like that's the energy that I want for One Piece in general.
All the time. I agree. And then the best that they've ever done was Hope with Whole Cake Island. It captured everything. That's why people don't understand. That's why Hope was so good. You captured everything about Whole Cake Island in that one opening.
My favorite opening to this day is still Kokoro no Chizu, number 5.
Is that 5?
5, yeah.
Is that the Water 7?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Water 7 was good.
That caught the vibe, and I still get chills thinking about when the beat drops and then it's like Luffy versus Kuzan. Like that moment. Because you don't expect, on the first watch, you don't expect that that's going to happen. And it was actually the first opening that really started putting scenes into the opening in the first
what's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was like, I love that opening. That's why
I love Brand New World so much, because when you see Zoro and Sanji fighting CP9, Frankie with the Chapapa guy, like I love Brand New World because of that. I thought Brand New World was awesome. That's my favorite.
Didn't they have Brand New World only for like 5 or 10 episodes though?
They didn't even have it for that long. I was like, why? Brand New World is arguably, it's always going to be top 5. Brand New World will always be top 5.
It's top 5 for me too. It's
always.
Kokoro no Chizu, Over the Top, and then Brand New World is somewhere in there. We Are is probably in there just because of the nostalgia.
Yes.
And Hard Knock Days.
So another one, the only time where soft, calm music worked well for One Piece, I'd say, is Fight Together with the ASL Flashback. It's a beautiful opening.
Yep.
But it matched the vibe because that's the vibes where Ace had just died. ASL
exactly.
Flashback.
That's when you get into
you're feeling the pain. That's where you get into that. That's what I'm saying. Like Fight Together was like, that's it. That makes sense. But we're in Onigashima. Kaido is, we have death, famine, war. and we're just vibing. I'm like, that's not a vibe. We're not here to vibe. We're here to fight. This is a fight to the death. What are we vibing for? I don't know. I don't know. But that's just me. Minor gripes. Not that, you know.
No. I mean, that's, there's a lot of validity there, man.
Yeah.
Don't downplay it. It's valid.
Yeah, I'm doing my best.
Yeah. Vasil Vlad Ivanovici said, mirroring the Skypiea moment with Enel, which 4 warriors should stand in front of Emu? Dragon, Law, Garp, and... Oh, so you think there's gonna be a, like, Robin, Zoro, Wiper, and Gonfall thing where there's only 4 people standing in front of Emu? Now look, that's one of the rawest panels in the entire series and one of my favorite panels, like them standing up against Enel. I wanted something like that in Wano. I wanted the 9 shadows.
Yeah.
I wanted the 9 shadows to be in front of Kaido, and I wanted them to be random like that. Like, it's not all of the Straw Hats. Like,
yeah, that
like the cool thing about what happened in Skypiea was, okay, here's the new Straw Hat in their first arc. The captain is not here. This old man we were introduced to, and then the main character that is actually like being oppressed in this arc is the person that's, you know, just these 4 people are in this thing. Oh, and Nami technically is in the corner there, but like that randomness, you know, like you want something like Usopp to be in whatever this thing. You need something whatever unexpected. Yeah. I don't know if we'll end up getting it that way, but that's it. But at the end of the day, man, I mean, like, it's a great year, and I mean, I think I'm ready to start winding down and wrapping up the stream. But I wanted to bring you on, man, and kind of celebrate this year. I think that this one for the books in my mind.
It really has been. It's been a very strong year, and I'm 100% with you, man. I think I'm so glad that I'm enjoying reading One Piece, and I've been reading One Piece in a much more casual way than I'm used to. But that's really brought my day-to-day, week-to-week joy for One Piece back, and it's no secret that Oda going back to his old playbook, you know, back to the pick and roll, you know, back to his old playbook is where I've enjoyed it, because I enjoyed it as a casual earlier on. And at the end of the day, we are YouTubers, we're content creators. But just to be able to sit down and read One Piece and be like, yo, man, I had a good time. Going back to that week-to-week vibe of just reading it and not having to be so analytical about it and enjoying it, it's been great. And that's how I felt for a long time. I felt like this for a long time with One Piece. So it's been a great year. It's generally been a great year. I've enjoyed the anime. I think that my favorite scene is that fight, Gear 5 versus Hybrid Kaido, but when Kaido was actually fighting back, or the gimmick stopped, and you're seeing like real, like the lightning show. I'm like, what is happening? Where did that come from? Kaido showing up to Luffy, and he looks like 10,000 times larger than Luffy. I'm like, and do you see the shading, Randy? Like the dark shade in the eyes. I'm like, oh my God, Kaido looks so fierce. So like, just getting that, I'm like, yo, it's about time One Piece has those type of vibes where you're like, yo, One Piece isn't just your run-of-the-mill anime. We can look just as cool as any other new gen anime out there and still be better in the manga. And it was just proof. One Piece back on top.
Elevated.
It's elevated. Back on top. So yeah, great year. Fantastic year.
And yeah, and shout out to you, man. Because you've been soaring this year too.
It's been a good year. It's been a good year. Finally, I think I found my lane finally for once. So it's been nice to really step into that. So yeah, it's been a decent year for me, man.
No, I love to see it. So thanks for joining me, man. I'm glad we were able to do this. It's been a while. Come out to LA for any cons or anything like that, make sure to hit me up.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody in the chat, let's thank our guests for today. Drop some rats in the chat if you got them.
Yes, sir. The Chooge.
Big Chooge. Which did you watch? Did you see the episode where they added the anime
With
canon?
Sanji?
Yeah.
With Sanji and Osome?
Yeah. And then they put Chuji in there.
I was so mad because the one time Sanji had easy pull. He had her. Sanji had her, and he's only worried about a rat. I'm like, Sanji a real rat. He knows the priority. He's like, Big Chooge, what's up, King? How you doing? I love it. I hated it, but I loved it at the same time.
Oh, we wanted Chuji to pull up on the Sunny and be his little ratatouille,
bro,
man.
Yeah, bro, that's what I'm saying. Sanji with a little rat on his shoulder, bro, best character in One Piece, hands down.
Yeah,
Ratatouille. That's what I'm saying. That would have been it for me, bro.
No, but they made
a Chopper any day.
Oh my god, the Chopper slander never stops, man. But it was like they had to make up for it because there was one panel where Chuji was clearly on his shoulder. The one panel where he was on his shoulder. When they animated it, they did not put Chuji on his shoulder.
Disgraceful.
So they had to fix that. I actually think that they fixed a lot of the problems that I had with Wano at the end. I loved the scene with Zoro at Yasui's grave. Like I thought that really,
that's beautiful.
That really kicked it up.
It needed to be done.
Yasuo
was one of the best characters in Wano, and his relationship with Zoro is one of the best dynamics in Wano. And it was only in part 1. So
I know.
I'm glad they went back. Yeah.
I know, man. And way better than him going to Ryuma's grave, even though that was talked about. So I'm good with all that. So anything that you want to say to everybody, any particular content that you want to direct everybody at?
All I would say is I'm working on doing more skits. Obviously, you guys saw the Dragon interview. Now that I've got, kind of an office and, better mic quality and working on the camera quality, I'll be able to produce better things. So just stay tuned for more skits, more humor around One Piece. And I've been silent on a lot of collabs. I don't think I've collabed on my channel in a long time. So the era of collabing will be coming at the end of this year and New Year. So, expect that. And Randy, obviously, you're going to be appearing soon. I have things in the works. So stay tuned for that. But outside of that, just JayDLegend. If you like shorts, you like humor, go to my channel. You'll enjoy it.
No, definitely one of the best to do it out here on One Piece YouTube, and certainly one of the funniest. You guys are missing out if you're not following Jay. Links are in the description. And thanks everybody for joining me today. We are going to be back here on Christmas Eve when the chapter drops, chapter 1102, and that'll be the last chapter of the year. So we'll have a little bit of a Christmas party for that.
Okay.
And so show up if you want. And then we got in the store also, I know I was talking about it, we got the Heat on Feet stockings now. So
okay, Heat on Feet, that's fire.
Get your Christmas stockings. Lavishbracket.com. Very Motivated said, have a good holiday, Jay. Yep.
Appreciate you, brother.
Anybody who can't make it, happy holidays to you. We'll have another, I'm going to try and do something with Chrissy where we wrap up the entire year as well after the new chapter, because we got to have the last chapter of the year before we even get into all of that. And that's the plan for the rest of the year. Look out for other videos. That's the plan. Thank you again to JayDLegend. Go follow him, guys.
Of course. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
I've been swimming deep. Savage.
Wait, they can't still hear us, can they? All right, cool. To be continued.